Thank you. Did you come see me? Did you come see me? What can you smell? You're gonna come and sit down. Come and sit down with me. Come and sit down. Come on. Alright, cheers, girl. Hi guys, we've got a little guest again today. She's come to sit with me, so say hi to Luna. Luna, say hi. Say hi. Yeah, she has no idea what's going on. So today I want to talk to you about something that's a little bit personal. My breakdowns. So I've had 3 mental breakdowns in my life, and I want to walk you through them. I want to walk you through them so that you can really understand what this might look like, how you might feel if this happened to you, and how you can deal with it moving forward. So if you want to learn more and you want to learn more about me and my journey, then stay tuned. My first breakdown was when I was 16. I was at college, I'd only just started, and I was going through a rough time. I had a lot of challenges and significant things that happened in my life at that point that led me into a depressive vortex. It was negative. It was so negative. Like, I literally couldn't see any positives, and I was rolling in it like a pig in shit. I'm not even joking. Like, I just absorbed all this negativity, and it just sunk me into this horrible depressive state, and I just hated myself for that. Now, when this happened to me, I was immensely suicidal. I was self-harming. I was just in a real awful state. I felt so alone, and I was dealing with anorexia as well. And I honestly couldn't see a way out, or at least I couldn't see that anything needed to change. I was just absorbed by it, and I couldn't see anything outside of it, so I didn't see the positives that could come from my life. Now, the only reason I knew that there was anything wrong was because my tutor at college spoke to me. He spoke to me and he spoke to my dad, and he was concerned, he was worried, and he basically wanted to direct me in the right direction to make sure that I was getting the help that I needed. He'd obviously seen a change. When he saw that change, which was me basically ditching class, not being as engaged in class when I was there, and just generally losing weight, and just not being my normal bubbly self. So when I was like that, my tutor realised he done the right thing. He contacted my dad, and he also pulled me aside and spoke to me. And ultimately, he offered me counselling sessions. So he said that you could sign up to the counsellor at the college, which I was completely unaware of. And you could go for counselling sessions every week. So I tried it. I mean, before all of this, I had no idea about therapy. I mean, I'd only heard about it on TV shows, stuff like that. That's the only time that I would have heard anything about this. So I was completely in the unknown. I had no idea whether this was going to work for me, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what was going on with me. I didn't know that there was anything wrong. So I was just going with what they said, basically because they gave me an ultimatum. They said to me, if I don't go for the counselling, then they will basically need to defer my year. So I will essentially be kicked off the course for now until I sort myself out and come back at a later date. Now, I'm not a quitter, and I know that's not quitting, but to me it was. In that moment it was, and I did not want to quit because I was there to do my course. And so I signed up for the counselling, and best thing I've ever done. Best thing I've ever done. Fact. I didn't notice there was anything wrong in this situation. It was other people that had noticed it and pointed it out to me. And obviously the ultimatum was the reason that I took up the counselling, but it steered me in the right direction, and somebody else done that for me. I didn't look for it. I didn't see the negativity around me because I was consumed by it. So that was my every day. That was my every second. So when somebody else said to me, you need to go counselling, there's something not right here, you're obviously dealing with something, so you need to speak to someone. And I took their advice, and do you know what, I'm so glad that they did, because that helped me see myself through a different lens. It helped me recalibrate and go, hang on a minute, I don't want to live like this. This isn't life. This isn't what life is supposed to be like. So it made me push forward and look for better things. And it also helped me with my second breakdown. My second breakdown, I'd been left college for 3 years and I was 22. And I was just lost again. I was still very naive to my mind and how my mind worked. And I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why it was constantly 100 miles per hour and wouldn't slow down. I had a real hard time with my self-esteem with this one, and it really hit me hard, so hard that I was not going out. I just didn't want to go out. The only time I'd go out is if I was going to work, and that was because I needed money to live. So that was the only reason. I would put myself in anxiety attacks, like panic attacks, everything when I went to work, but I had to do it, so I kept going. But once I finally started to notice that there was something wrong, it was basically the fact that I was more irritable. I would just want to cry more. I was on the defence a lot. If you came at me with an issue, I was just, reacting off the cuff and just, hurting people's feelings and really not meaning to. And I was generally just rolling in negativity like a pig in shit, like I was before. So I kind of felt like it was very scarily familiar to me. I've been through this before, and now I'm starting to see those signs that I talked about with my counsellor before. And oh no, it's rearing its ugly head again. So I'm naturally terrified. Naturally, you're going to be terrified because you've been through this. You don't want to go back there. And that was what I was terrified of. I was so scared about going down that black hole again. So when I noticed, I basically started to sit with myself a bit more and think about the different scenarios that have happened around me, and dissect the reasons why I've treated someone the way that I've treated them. Or, something's happened and I've reacted in a certain way. And why did I react that way? I wanted to know why. I wanted to know what the hell is going on in my head for me to treat people the way that I started treating them, I would disrespect people and I would say stuff without it having filtered through my mind, and people would get hurt, and I had to apologise a lot. I mean, a lot. And all of that, guys, was me deflecting my trauma. It was me not dealing with the things that have happened to me. It was me not understanding why things have happened and what I can learn from it. And I was deflecting all of it and chucking it back at everybody. As soon as somebody would come at me, I would just push them back and push them back. It didn't matter if they were coming at me in a nice way or, anything. I was just in a real dark place, guys, real dark place. Now, my counsellor taught me how to do that. He was the one that basically sat me down in my sessions and he would say to me, you need to understand why you react in certain ways, why you hold yourself in this way, and, so on and so forth. So because he taught me that, I used it this time round, and ultimately it helped me dig myself out of that hole again before I got too deep that I needed some assistance. So I was so eternally grateful for that. Honestly, I can't thank him enough, and I'm really sad that I can't remember the guy's name. I feel like it was Nick. Might have been Nick. Sorry, Nick, if your name's Nick. If you're not, I don't know. I genuinely can't remember, but he was a legend, and mate, he really helped me. He really did. But because of his help, I started to see the positivity coming through the clouds, and I started to see my life for what it was, and I started to see the things that I needed to change in my life as well. And you know what? I also saw who I wanted to be in this world. I saw all this negativity around me and all of the people that, had wronged me in the past. And I'd looked at all of them and I'd gone, what? I want to be like that. Why would I want to be like that? So I just basically took from these experiences how I didn't want to treat other people. These people had treated me badly and I didn't want to treat people like that. And when I'm reacting like this, mate, I don't want to be reacting like that. Fact, I listened to my counsellor's advice. I practiced as he preached. And I come out the other side. And ultimately, I was stronger. I learnt more lessons. Knowledge is power, apparently. So I learnt a hell of a lot more about myself then. And it was great. So listen to your counsellors, guys, because they do talk sense. I promise. As they say, third time's the charm. Now, on my third breakdown, I noticed a lot more quickly that I was going down that spiral and that I was heading for the breakdown. And although I knew I was heading there, I didn't necessarily set up the stepping stones that I needed to. I just noticed I was on the way there. And I don't know about you if you've ever been in this situation before, but when you're sort of leaping and you're going down that black hole, there's almost like a pull. There is a bit of a pull because it's almost comfortable. This is where you don't have to try. This is where you don't have to be bothered about your makeup, about getting dressed up and about going out with your mates and about doing things that you enjoy, because you can just sit. That's it. Really. I mean, it is just sitting, but your mind is then going blah, 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 blah. And it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. And ultimately, doing anything outside of that is exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. So you get pulled in and you go down that deep, dark hole and you end up stuck there. And this is what happened on this third breakdown, where I got suckered into that black hole and I got pulled in and it was just dark. It was dark. There was nothing there. I was empty, numb, didn't care about anything, anyone. I had been through 2 breakdowns already, so I'd already known what this entails, how it goes and where I'm likely to go, and I'd kind of got comfortable knowing where I was going. And I was happy with it. Or at least not happy with it, but I was just, is what it is. I didn't try. I didn't do anything to start with until I really looked at everything and I really sat with myself and dissected everything in my mind and tried to work out what was actually going on. And do you know what? It was terrifying. It was terrifying to sit there and look at myself in the mirror. And all I saw was just this disgusting, skinny, boy-like woman. I had no boobs, I had no bum, I was skinny, scrawny. I wasn't me. I was a silhouette of me. I was nothing compared to how I was before all of this. You know, I'd literally been beaten to my inner core. Now, I felt the same the 2 previous times, but this one was even worse, if you can call it like anything. I would call it hell. I was in a living hell. I really had no way out. There was no way out and I was stuck until I woke up one morning and I said to myself, this is not you. This is not you. This is not who you are. So I called the doctors. I called the doctors straight away and I thought, okay, there's ways of getting help. And at that point, I'd had doctor's appointments before about my anxiety and things like that. And I knew that they could help me with certain things. But I also knew that they do palm you off with drugs, basically. Just dose you up on something. So I was adamant in my head I was never going to go on medication. So I went straight to the doctors. I spoke to the GP. And he said, oh, well, we've got a perfect pill for that. Started looking up the pills and I said to him, no, I'm not interested. I don't want medication. I want to do this myself. This is something I can control myself. So I had that willpower in me it was few and far between. It was just, every now and again I get this willpower to go, right, I'm gonna do something. So I'd run for it and I would grab it with both hands. And this is how I ended up at the doctor's saying, I don't want medication, I want a counsellor. So that's what happened. They gave me a counsellor within a couple of weeks. Honestly, I thought it was going to be like ages for me to get this counsellor. But I think, at the tops, I probably would have said 6 weeks, but it really, really wasn't a hell of a lot longer than that. So I was blessed. I was really blessed with Angie, the counsellor, and she was amazing. She was amazing. Honestly, I walked into that room, mate, and I obviously you introduce yourselves and blah, blah, blah. And it was nice and it was fine, just meeting someone. And I sat down in the room and she really was quite cold and quite closed off. And I really didn't get a good vibe. I didn't think that we were going to be a good match. I thought she was, I don't know, I just thought she was really cold. And I just didn't feel like there was anything in that room when I walked in there. Do you know what I mean? That kind of person. Anyway, I sat down with her, I had a few sessions with her, and I thought, do you know what, I really don't like her. I really don't like her. Sorry, Angie, I'm really sorry. But I did. I was like, just don't like her. I don't know what it is, but she just really annoys me. Like, it's not anything personal. It was just that she felt quite cold in that situation to start with. Well, the weeks went by, and all of a sudden it twigged. It dawned on me. She wasn't cold. She wasn't closed off. She was actually listening. She was listening to me. Which I'm not really used to. I had counselling before and that was great. And yeah, he really listened to me. But I had a rapport with him straight away. And so I didn't necessarily notice that, somebody was actually listening to me back then. But at this point in my life, no one was fucking listening to me. No one. I was just alone with no one to talk to or anything. So this Angie, she's a great gal, honestly. She just helped me unpack and just offload everything in that room. And then as the weeks went by, she helped me organise everything that had come out of my head and everything that I didn't understand, and helped me understand it. And we filed it away in a nice cabinet and labelled it and made it all pretty and nice to look at. And it's now in my head, but it's more memories. It's not traumas. It's not things that I'm carrying with me every day. It's things that I like to talk about. I like to get my story out there for people to listen to. But it's not necessarily something that I would shout about. Oh my God, what we're talking about? Of course I'm fucking shouting about it. But anyway, it's not something I don't know. I don't fucking know. I've lost the point. Right, hang on.
2,000 years later.
But anyway, Angie, she's great. She really, really helped me through this whole process. I went to her sessions for about 1.5 years, maybe a little bit less than that. And she helped me sort it all out. And like I say, it's now just in my head as memories. And it's not as traumatic it's not trauma. It's just not trauma anymore. It's just experiences that I've lived through and that I can tell the tale of. Fact, regardless of whether you like your counsellor or not, stick at it. Stick at it. Please stick at it, because you will reap the benefits once you continue. If you feel like they're really cold and closed off and don't want to connect with you, it's not true. They're listening. They're listening. That's what they're being paid to do, is listen. So just let them listen and offload. Talk about it. Anything that comes to mind, because eventually you will get to the trauma and they will help you get there. And they will help you unpack. They'll help you file it away, label it, make it all pretty and nice so that you can just look at it as a memory and as an experience, rather than the trauma that you go through and relive every day. And ultimately, it's worth it To me, it's worth it because, you know, when you go into a counsellor's room, you know, it could be a meeting room. Sorry, my dog's scratching. But when you go into your counsellor's room and you sit down and you have your sessions, you're going to sit there and you're going to pour out your heart and you're going to chuck it all out. And you're probably going to feel uncomfortable. You probably will. I'm not going to sit here and say to you that you're not going to feel uncomfortable about talking about all these things. But ultimately, a little bit of discomfort, really, it just, honestly, the benefits far outweigh it. Honestly, it really does. So if you have thought that you might need counselling, I urge you to go and speak to your doctor and get signed up to your local counsellor so that you can offload some of your traumas and turn them into good memories. Well, not good memories, but lessons learned. Lessons learned and experiences experienced. Now, I hope this has been useful for you guys. If there's any questions that you might have, please do let me know. You can always message me on Facebook or Instagram. The links are down below. But guys, I wanted to share this with you just to give you a bit of insight into how a breakdown works. Well, not really how it works, but just how it's worked for me and how I have got myself out of it. And how I've pushed forward and ultimately lived the life I live now, which is just, it's not shabby. It's great. I love it. Now, you may not see the signs when you're having a breakdown, like I didn't when I had my first one. You're not necessarily going to know what the signs are. So if somebody points it out to you, make sure that you do go to speak to your GP and get some sort of help. And I urge you guys, if you feel like your sparkle has gone, like your buzz has gone, whatever you want to call it, if you feel like that light has disappeared from your life, look at yourself. Look at your situation and look at the things that might not bring you joy in your life, you know? Look at everything in your life and decide whether it brings you joy or not. And if it doesn't, fuck it off. Flip it off. Just do it. Just push it away. It's nothing to do with you anymore. You don't need it in your life because it's not bringing you any positive. Can't speak now. Because it's not bringing you any positivity. So just chuck it out. Just be done with it. It's not worth it, right? Ask yourselves these two questions, right? I'm looking down on my screen. What in your life, what in your life isn't bringing you joy anymore? What's not bringing you joy? And if I removed it from my life, would it change anything? And if it doesn't bring you joy, and it makes you feel better when it's removed from your life, then get rid. Just get rid. Detox your lives and build yourself a better future. That's what I'm trying to do. Guys, if there's anything in your lives that you are planning to get rid of or to change, whatever it is, let me know in the comments. Or drop me a message if you prefer it to be more private. I'm more than happy to help if you need any advice, if you've got any questions. So please, guys, let me know. But otherwise, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button to make sure that you get your notifications. And I will see you guys real soon. Thank you so much for joining me and take care of yourselves. Bye bye.